back to an episode of the Open Source Cafe. I'm really excited for this topic, and for two reasons. One, I have some really amazing people, amazing human beings with me today. I have Zohar from Port, and reason number two, the topic is very interesting. Um, at KubeCon, I saw a booth. It said DevOps is dead, platform engineering or whatever. A lot of controversial opinions that are happening in the community right now. So I thought, let's have a discussion around it from people who have worked quite a lot in this field and they can give us their feedback. But before we move forward and dive into the discussion, Uzwar, would you like to give yourself a quick intro and tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, of course. So Kunal, thank you so much for having me. My name is Zohar. I'm the CEO and founder of Port. I'm a software developer in my background, mainly around platform engineering. Before it was called this way, and this space really fascinates us, and we are very excited about what is going on in the industry these days. On many companies adopting platform engineering and developer portals, and Port is one of the solutions that provide a no-code platform that you can use in order to adopt a portal. So yeah, really excited about this talk today, Kunal.
Amazing. And if you're someone who wants to get involved with platform engineering or just wants to learn more about it, or if you're already experienced and you want to learn more about how various folks are like implementing it using developer tools, this podcast is for you. So I'm really really excited for this one. But before we move forward, let's just start with a simple question. How would you define platform engineering?
Of course, yeah. So back to your the DevOps is dead thing. So I want to make everyone come. It's not dead; it's evolving, and DevOps is here to stay. So we are big fans of DevOps, but DevOps and platform engineering are two things that run in parallel. So like from what we saw in in the past few years, you have application teams that wanted to be autonomous and act as a self-sufficient team, and the DevOps became very, very complicated and advanced with GitOps, Kubernetes, Argo CD, cloud resources, microservices, and so on. So in a way, in order to be a sufficient team that can, have everything from the code to the ops part of the application, you cannot make everyone DevOps experts as part of the team. So the platform engineering comes and says, hey, okay, we have a lot of teams. We want them to be self-sufficient and act as autonomous units, and we want them to also have the ops knowledge in order to control the lifecycle of their application. But they cannot be experts of DevOps because it's really, it requires a lot of knowledge, and it's very, very, it's a deep expertise. So the platform engineering comes and say, okay, let's make a common team that can provide off-the-shelf services for other teams to use while they're building their application. So this was the missing piece to obtain the promise of you build it, you own it, by letting team have a DevOps persona that is part of the application team that can build the lifecycle of the application and all the ops considerations of development, but they will consume things from the platform team that gives them services as internally within the organization. So platform engineering is a way to evolve DevOps and to make it more to democratize DevOps within the organization by using it as a self off the shelf service.
So, how are folks doing things before platform engineering? If you talk about just DevOps, and you mentioned like a gateway or whatever that a platform engineering team is providing, how is that different than what people were already doing?
Yeah, so back then when you had that, the IT days where you had someone, were responding to tickets and calls and things like that. So in a way, like we got very advanced with DevOps, but somehow we still have Slack channels for DevOps on call and tickets and Slack messages and meetings. So this is what currently happens. So a lot of peer-to-peer communication around, who owns this microservice? How can I provision a new package? How do I configure this to the CI? How do I add a cloud resource to my service? And a lot of things about questions and requests going through tickets and Slack messages, just like we had in the IT days. And we came into the realization that we want to automate this kind of process by having a portal in place. So the portal is the interface where the different teams can interact with to consume off-the-shelf DevOps services, right? So the portal is the thing that will replace and currently replace all the tickets and spreadsheets and peer-to-peer communication with one another, and put everything in context in one place, and give you a very, you know, like a supermarket experience to get what you need just in the section that you would imagine it will be, right, in an intuitive way.
And my question is like, that makes sense. By the way, first of all, it's a really clear explanation. Thanks a lot for sharing. So a follow-up question is like, why is it? Why is all this talk happening about platform engineering right now? All of a
Yeah.
sudden, it came. It was like everyone's talking about it. So what is the reason we're talking about it like today?
Yeah. So first, I think we came into a place where the experience of the developers became super important. So in a way, developers had enough. They want to be autonomous for real, and not just like to promise them with autonomy, with being self-sufficient. So developers starting to say, hey, we want like to be self-sufficient, and we want things to be consumed in an easy and intuitive way. We don't want to work with tickets. So first is the rise of developers saying we want the world to be better. And second, we have companies like Netflix, Spotify, Lyft that started talking about, they were the first ones to promote the idea of platform engineering because they are the pioneers of every innovation. So they felt this kind of siloed communication first, and they came up with this concept of platform engineering, and the world is is learning about it both from these kind of companies, and it becomes slowly it becomes like a standard, like any other tool. Like you have the Git provider, the CI/CD, Kubernetes, and now you have developer portal. So it slowly becomes a standard that organizations follow, because they see like the value and they see other companies adopting it. So it's a combination of many things together: the innovation of DevOps, companies adopting it, and the concept becomes hot.
Cool, cool. Thanks for sharing. And when did you like? I mean, obviously you have a huge background and everything. Running a startup, it's definitely lots to learn from you. So when did you realize like it was time to do something in this space of platform engineering? Because to be quite frank, I have only heard about this topic like um, past few months, but that makes sense because I only graduated last year. So you have a lot more experience. So when did you decide, that okay, we should do something in this space?
Yeah, so both me and my business partner Jonathan, we were platform engineers back at a very large organization with 2,000 engineers around 2 years ago, and we've built some kind of a port for a very large organization. So we before it was called platform engineering, it was very intuitive to for us to say, hey, we want to start like a group that specialize in self-service kind of DevOps. We call it like self-service DevOps. This is how we called it. And this is what, when we thought about it, we said, hey, the like things are getting more and more complicated. Every company will need such a portal, right, to have everything consumed from one place. So this is what got us into starting Port. We want everyone to enjoy this kind of platform that we've already built in scale. So we kind of build a product that can be adjustable to every kind of organization. It doesn't matter like what architecture you use and how you operate software. We put our minds into thinking about a generalized approach that lets you bring your portal up and running in minutes. So this is what inspired us to start the port.
Amazing. And my another question is, if you talk about platform engineering, you mentioned okay, platform engineering teams, they give you the stuff, and the developers are happy. Um, is this like an isolation for a particular role, for example, or is it basically like an isolation for a particular role, or is it promoting cross team communications?
Yeah. So what it does, it creates like it creates like a, let's call it a single source of truth for everything DevOps. Okay, what I mean by that, it means I have like one place where everyone can communicate around to be able to see, all the microservices, environments, permissions, the topology of the DevOps, architecture and the lifecycle of an application, in a way that gives context and brings data from all the different sources in one place. So in a way, it fosters collaboration because you have a single source of truth into the architecture of your DevOps and the lifecycle of your applications, which is today is very siloed, and it's very hard to understand like what microservices do I have, where what version runs where, who is on call right now, who owns this kind of component, what is the deep link to the Datadog of my microservice in production in the Canary deployment, things like that. So this is the first part. And the second part is being able to, which is very, very important, is being able to make self-service actions as part of the platform. So Port is the first solution that provides some kind of a way to create any kind of action, not just like scaffolders of services, but any kind of action like, you know, provisioning a new package, in-house package, adding a cloud resource to a microservice, getting a temporal permission to a cloud resource, etc. And these are the two main things that create this kind of a unified place where everyone can collaborate and work in context. So I think in a way it makes so to your question, it makes like every team autonomous and as acting as an individual, but because everything is represented in one place, they can share things with one another and create some kind of a really efficient communication, putting everything in one place for everyone to collaborate around.
And is it ideal for like small teams or big teams or medium-sized teams?
Yeah, so I think so in a way, like from what we see, the sweet spot where the problem start to arise is around like 100 engineers plus. So when you have like 100 engineers within your organization, um, you might want to consider adopting a portal. But I think just like CI/CD today, every new company, first thing is creating a GitHub account and setting up a CI/CD. So I think also like small teams and small companies will adopt a portal as it becomes a standard, and will have it from day one to build things, in a healthy way. So I think this is the future where it will become a standard, just like you have CI/CD or Git provider and things like that.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, thanks for sharing, Zohar. So we talked about the challenges. We talked about all sorts of things. Now let's talk about how to implement platform engineering. So maybe can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah.
Let's say for folks, let's say
So
who already have a DevOps, you know, pipeline in place. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so first, it doesn't matter if you're a DevOps engineer or you just started a new platform team. It's okay because it can start from the DevOps or it can start from the platform. As time goes by, it will become like a meaningful thing. But just like I think like every software project, think agile and don't try to capture everything from day one, because the portals has a lot of use cases. The creating the software catalog and the self-service actions and scorecards and automations, and it has a lot of things that you can implement inside of it, and it might be a little bit scary at first. So start with the most basic thing that you'd like to solve first. It can be this ticket that you get like for a repetitive request, just like one thing, or this question that you keep hearing about, like something related to the lifecycle of a microservice, or even like a ticket can be like provisioning an environment, or something related to GitOps operations, and just like choose one thing that is on your mind that you'd like to automate. Start with that, and once you start with this and you will get the trust of the engineers, it will go from there, and you can spread to more use cases as time goes by. So it can be any use case, from a self-service action, one self-service action, or just a base, or maybe you would like to start from the software catalog part, where you want to create like just a list of microservices, giving the metadata about them, like who is on call, who owns this microservice, things like that. So really choose like one use case that you'd like to begin with. Maybe you want to map your Kubernetes assets and bring some visibility layer to engineering to understand like the life cycle of services around your Argo CD in Kubernetes. Like choose one thing, and then it will go from there. You will get the trust internally, and it will become like a a centralized thing that you implement. Many times we also see that it comes as a priority, and teams are like it's part of their sprint. But if it's not part of your sprint, you can do it anyway. It's just it starts as a pet project sometimes, and it becomes like one of the most meaningful things within your company, which is super cool. And I always like to think about these kind of projects.
Amazing. And let's talk a little bit about you know we were speaking earlier. We talk about port. What you all are doing for platform engineering. Let's talk about like internal developer portals, for example, and how folks can utilize those and what are the use cases and all sort of things around that.
Yeah. Okay. So we think about like so to create this kind of portal where everyone can collaborate around, and it can include everything that you want to have as services for your engineers. We came up with a slightly different approach from like other tools. We are no code developer portal. It means that we are not uh, we are not opinionated on how to do DevOps. We say, hey, you can do DevOps just the way that you think about, and we respect that. And you can bring your philosophy into our platform and have the things that you would like to include in port. So in a way, you can use our no-code elements to create the software catalog that represent your data model of delivering software, or creating the self-service actions that you want for your developers. What are the user inputs? How will it look like? And connect it to your underlying automations, whether it's like you want to make a GitOps operation and inject values into a Terraform file and open a pull request, or you want to trigger a GitHub action or do anything around that. So we give you the flexibility to create the portal that you want and connect it to your existing automations and infrastructure, so you don't have to change anything into how you do DevOps. That being said, we do provide templates from the things that we see, so you can start easily in a couple of minutes to create the first use case and take it from there. But Port is not opinionated, and we do not want to force you to work in one way or another, because as DevOps engineers and platform engineers, we like software and we really like to learn about like how to do stuff, but we have our own way of work and we have our own way of decisions, and it's okay, right? Like everyone has its own way of doing things. So I think the main thing around Port is that it's not opinionated by bringing no code elements for you to bring your ideas and your way of work into Port, so you don't have to bend yourself into doing things differently. So this
Yeah,
is
it's nice
the
to
main
have.
thing around it.
It's nice to have options, um, and definitely like curating to like having more options and more user base and all these things. But my question, my one question is, wh- like, what was the motivation behind the no code approach?
Yeah. We saw that some organizations they're microservice, like 100% microservices, or a combination between a monolith and a microservices on a transition, multi-cloud architecture, serverless shop, just like a domain-driven design architecture. Every organization is a snowflake, right? And it's okay. It's okay, and it depends on different needs and different phases of the company, and it's okay to be different. So the no code approach lets Port fit just to the snowflake model that you work with, so you don't have to change the way that you work. So it, the other way around is to bring you like a pre-made house with everything inside, and tell you like this is the way that you should do DevOps, but you do it like a little bit differently. So why should I like do this in this way? So the no code element says, we give you the freedom to mix and match the elements to create the portal that you want for your organization, that reflects your architecture, reflects your actions that you get from the engineering, reflects the tickets that you receive and the way that you work and your tech stack, right? It's also important for us to be able to work to play with your tech stack and so on. Um, so this is the reason why we built a port in a modular way. Um,
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Zohar. And yeah, that makes sense. Um, I think it's also nice to keep the when you're looking at a new project, for example, it's nice to keep the entry barrier as low as you can. Folks can do
yeah,
that by like simplicity or more documentation and resources and all sorts of things. Easy onboarding is basically what we are talking about here. Just yeah, that's
exactly.
amazing. Thanks a lot for sharing. And my last question to you is, if someone wants to get involved with Port, if you can
Yeah,
direct them to some resources. By the way, I'll leave these resources in the description below. So how can they get started?
yeah. Yeah. So first, we are very open. You can just go to app.getport.io, sign up, and get started from there. We also have a live demo that you can go into demo.getport.io. You don't have to authenticate, but you can see, yeah, an example of what can be built with port, data inside, actions inside. You can play around it. You can run actions. Don't worry, it's okay. It's just like for the demo. So you can check it out. And we also have the documentation at docs.getport.io, which everything is described there in very detailed, and we are always happy to talk with people. So if you want just to reach out to get our opinion on anything, just really feel free to reach out to me directly, or to any one of our engineers, and we would be super happy and excited to talk about it. We really like sharing ideas and help in any way that we can.
Amazing. Well, thanks a lot for sharing, Zohar. And by the way, all the links will be in the description below, so you all can get involved today. And you can join the community and ask your questions over there. Um, if you want to stay up to date with the product, you can follow them on Twitter and like, social media and stuff. Yeah. So, Lee, having a lot, it was a lot of fun, Zohar. Thanks a lot for joining and sharing. Really appreciate you giving the
Thank
time.
you for
And
having me.
yeah, it was great conversation. And everyone else, yeah, just check it out, get involved, let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, you can check out you can link it up, like just send it in the comment section or Twitter or whatever. You can find us anywhere. But yeah, it's really fun, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.
Okay. Kunal, thank you. Bye bye, everyone.